All right, so I promised y'all that I would share my story with you guys about the sexual assault and things that I went through at the age of 13. But of course, to protect the identities of the men, which is two separate ones, I'll just use funny little goofy nicknames, I guess, to keep my spirits up and to keep me from falling into like a negative spell and crying and shit. So, for starters, I will start with the first man that it started with, and we'll go from there. So, the first man, we will say his name was T Rex, okay, like a dinosaur. So, T Rex, at the time, I was 13 and I was dating his niece. And me and her were having a lot of issues with each other, lots of arguments, lots of fallouts, and I thought it would be a cool idea to go to him because I figured since he's her uncle, that it would be a good idea to talk to him about our issues, and he would be able to give me advice on how to basically keep his niece in my life. Also, okay, so how do I know him? He was a friend of one of my sisters, and he would always come around. He was always in the house. He was real close with my mom, and he was just always around. And so that's what made me get comfortable with him because he was always there, you know. But yeah, so the first time I actually confided in him, it actually was around the time where I had lost my virginity, and nobody in my family knew until I came home one night with a hickey on my neck. And the sister that he was friends with, she kind of got on to me like, oh, you think you grown, da 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 da. And he kind of, I guess, felt bad for me or whatever. So how I told y'all about that empathetic grown nigga syndrome, he was just like, oh, come tell me all about it. And he was asking me, did it hurt? And quite frankly, yes, that shit did hurt. But yeah, he was just asking me questions about it, and so that grew my comfort in him even more. So he was like, okay, if you ever want to talk about anything else, here's my number. You can always hit me up. So I had his number, and I took his advice. I hit him up like he told me to about his niece, my relationship with her. So yeah. And after a while, things started to get a little weird because the first actual instance was him texting me to meet him on the stairs. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. He might be like giving me something, or I thought he was about to give me something. But I went downstairs and I met him on the stairs how he told me to. And he came in for a kiss, and I felt awkward because I was like, okay, it's a grown man standing in front of me. He's coming in for a kiss. I don't want to like yell because I didn't want to cause a scene. I also felt weird with like bagging back and pulling back from him because I guess I didn't want to destroy the good vibes that was between us. Like I didn't want to like rock the boat. So I just wanted to, I guess, stay on good terms with him. I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna fight this. I'm just gonna let it happen. He comes in for a kiss, so I'll just sit here, let it happen, so we can stay on good terms. So after that, my brain kind of got a little foggy, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, I can't tell his niece. I can't tell her because she's my girlfriend. I didn't want her to break up with me. I didn't want her to be mad at me. I didn't want her to be mad at him. I didn't want him to go to jail. I didn't want to get in trouble. I just had so many reasons as to why I did not want to tell her or why I didn't want to say anything to anybody. I had a list of reasons why I shouldn't. And I think that's something that he knew. I think he knew that I wanted to keep his niece in my life. I think he knew that I had a big heart and didn't want him to go to jail. I think he knew all of how I was feeling. That's how, which fast forward way forward, like just to give y'all a glimpse, that I wasn't the first little girl that he did that to. That's why he kind of was very strategic. He knew how I was feeling. He knew what I was thinking. It's like, and he played off of that because he had experience with doing it to other girls in his own family. But yeah, so with him knowing how tied up I was, and bonded to him because of my guilt, my fear, and things of that nature, it just got worse and worse and worse. He just took the steps further and further and further. The next thing that actually happened was another kiss. He was getting ready to leave. He told me to come downstairs. So at that point, I kind of already knew, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to upset him, you know. So I was just like, okay, I'll come downstairs. And another kiss had happened, and what I remember so vividly about that, which I mentioned in one of my previous videos, that with both of the men, I remember exactly what they smelt like. So, like, whenever we were kissing, when he was getting ready to leave, I just remember him smelling like cigarettes. And everybody in my personal life, they know I hate the smell of cigarettes. Like tobacco, I absolutely hate that smell. It's strong, and it just, I hate that scent. But that's a scent that I remember of him. And then he left. And when he left, I'm guessing that that just kind of made his excitement towards me grow even more. So that's whenever the inappropriate text came in about like the stuff that he wanted to do with me and to me. And I got to the points where like I started to actually speak up like a little bit to him, and I was just like, I don't think this is right. It doesn't feel good. I don't think that, you know, like I'm dating your niece, for fuck's sake. Like, I don't think that this is something that should be going on. And I was like, I think this should go ahead and stop now, you know, because like, I can't keep this away from your niece, but then again, I don't want to talk to her about it. Like, I just felt very conflicted. And he was trying to comfort me and calm me down and let me know that it's okay. And, like, he was just trying to reassure me and make me feel better, you know. So around that time, things kind of slowed down because he saw that I was growing more and more uncomfortable, more and more frustrated. I started to get angry with him because I felt trapped. I felt stuck. In a way, I low-key felt like blackmailed too, you know. But, so yeah, everything started to slow down, and I thought to myself, okay, the worst part is over, and, you know, he got the hint that I don't want to do this, so all is well. And I was terribly wrong. So around that time, my sister, who was friends with him or whatever, she had just gave birth to my nephew. I love him. And so she was very occupied, okay? Her attention, it was somewhere else. So anybody thinking, why didn't the sister know? All of that. Just to let you know, my sister, her hands were full. That was her first baby, and none of us thought that she was going to have a baby, so. But anyways, yeah, she had my nephew, and it was one night where I was doing everything for her. I just really wanted to cater to her because although I didn't have children, I kind of sensed like, okay, she's tired, she needs help. So I was just running little errands for her, and she asked me to go get her some Kool-Aid, which was downstairs. She always made bomb Kool-Aid. So I went downstairs to get her drink or whatever. And mind you, at the time, like I said, he was always there. So he was downstairs on the couch watching TV because he was getting ready to go to work. So he really went down there to take a nap or whatever. I don't know if he really went down there to take a nap or if he just got away from my sister to be alone downstairs where it's private and dark. I don't know. I don't fully know. But I went down there or whatever with my sister's drink. And right when I turned the corner, he was right there. The couch was on the right side of me or whatever. So I'm hitting the corner, about to go to the kitchen. And he was like, come here, put the drink down. And my heart started to kind of beat fast because I'm like, I already told him I don't want to do anything. I already like expressed to him how uncomfortable I am. And like, I froze, and it's like my brain just went completely blank. And at that point, like, my body was just in response mode. I found out the different stages of fear. It's like the fight, flight, freeze, and the other one is what's that other one? I think, oh, appease. So my body went into the appeasing and freeze mode. Appeasing is where like I'm going along with what he wants because I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to cause a scene. And I'm also at this point scared of him and fearful of what he was doing to me, being released to my sister and my family and to my girlfriend at the time. So yeah, he was like, just put the drink down and come here. So I went to him, and when I went to him, he sat the drink down and he like leaned back on the couch and pulled me like on top of him. And at that point, that's whenever he had lifted up my shirt and started to like, if you like, I should probably like put on this video like rated R or have your parents with you. But that was around the time where he lifted up my shirt and started to like kiss on and suck on my nipples. And after a while of doing that, he like lifted me up and he stood up and turned me around and got behind me and like pushed me towards the couch. But the way our couch was set up, it was like a drywall like behind the couch. So I was on the couch or whatever, and that's whenever he had pulled down my pants and pulled down his pants, and I had like put my hand like between us, like on my butt and his ding dong or whatever, and like I was trying to like prevent that from happening without causing a scene, without being loud, without fighting him, you know, because I was fucking scared. But I put my hand there, he had moved it, and that's whenever he proceeded to attempt to put his thing inside of me. But anybody who knows when you're a teen or you're a young girl, your body is not fully developed. So the way a grown man can have sex with a grown woman, it does not work with a young girl, a teenager. So he was not able to fully put his thing inside of me, honestly, because it was just too painful. And even now at the top of my head, I still kind of have like a little area that's like thin compared to the rest of my hair, because I was in so much pain that like I was trying to scoot away from him. Like the position that I was in and how the couch was facing the wall is like nearly impossible for me to actually get away. But I was still trying to, and the top of my head, it was like rubbing against the wall, and it kind of pulled some of my hair up here out. But so yeah, it didn't fully go in, and it was hurting really bad. After a while of him seeing it, it just was not going to happen. He stopped, thank God. And that's whenever he pulled his pants back up, I pulled mine back up. I went to the bathroom, and I just remember wiping blood and just being filled with rage. Like I was just like extremely angry and frustrated with him. And after that, I kind of just tucked aside how I felt, and I went upstairs to give my sister her Kool-Aid. And after I gave her Kool-Aid, I just went in my room and laid down. And I think I attempted to go to sleep afterwards, but he kept texting me. And I think at that point he was apologizing, and I was telling him that I don't want to do it anymore. Like at that point I was like basically shooting off on him and just extremely angry and letting him know like I don't want to do this. Like, but this time I was more assertive with it because I was angry. And yeah, so at that point, he tried to calm me down again, which I guess that's a strategy that a pedophile uses as well. After he has already hurt his victim, he tries to comfort his victim and reassure his victim and be sweet and be kind and be gentle to like put in her mind like, oh, okay, he does care. He didn't mean to do it. You know, he's trying to make up for it. So I kind of forgave him a little bit, somewhat. And I guess in a way to make up for it, the last incident happened where I I was upstairs in my room, and he, at that point, he was just like, okay, one last time. I'm not going to try to put it in you anymore. I'm not going to hurt you. And at that point, he was just like, this will be our last time. I just want to taste it. Like, that's all I remember him saying through text. And I got so irritated and fed up with him and so ready to be done with him messing with me that I just kind of gave in. I'm like, okay, this is the last time you ever get to touch me. So just go ahead and then we can be done with this. So that night or whatever, everybody was asleep and or gone, and he came to the door, and I went downstairs. He came in, and that was the last time he touched me. And that's whenever, to, I guess, make up for his behavior, he attempted oral sex on me. And I just remember that being extremely painful. He was just very rough and hard when he did it. Like, it wasn't at all soft or gentle. The best way that I could describe how it felt was, like, I don't know if y'all have ever been in a classroom and had, like, a pencil with an eraser on it, and you would, like, erase really hard. But just, like, I just imagine, like, how the paper felt, like if somebody erased it. Like, that's how I would describe how that felt when he was performing oral on me. It was very painful, and I was trying to scoot away, but I think he thought I was enjoying it. That's why I was moving away, but really I was in pain, and I was trying to, like, scoot away from him because it didn't feel good, and it was just uncomfortable for me. So that was the last time anything happened. And after that, I just remember him giving me a kiss and still smelling like cigarettes. And then he left, and at that time, I was keeping it to myself. But there was this time that I went out of town to Florida, and the guilt was eating me up. I knew it was wrong. I knew it wasn't right. I knew it wasn't okay. And I just thought, me being in Florida, it would just be the perfect time to let her know what's been going on. And badly enough, I think that's another reason where my guilt comes from, because she thought it was a mutual thing. I guess she had in her mind that I wanted to have sex with him and I wanted to do these things with him. And so it kind of came out as frustration, and she kind of came at me with anger. And I think that was part of another reason, like, why I didn't want to tell anybody else, because I thought by me telling her that she would understand. But I was just met with anger, and she was like, I can't believe you and my uncle is doing this, like, and it just became a me thing and part of my fault and my problem, and so, yeah. So although I wasn't going to say anything to anybody else, that kind of just secured that thought even more in my brain, not to say anything. Because I didn't want my family to be mad at me. I didn't want him to be mad at me. I didn't want anybody upset with me, because she already was. And so fast forward, I just started cussing him out. I'm like, now your niece, she doesn't want anything to do with me. And at that point, I just, not calling him out his name, but letting him know, like, you're nasty, you're a perv, and all of this is your fault. And now your niece is looking at me some type of way. Now she doesn't want to be with me. Like, I was just extremely furious with him. And but I still didn't say anything. I still didn't want him to go to jail. I was still protecting him. And so yeah, I didn't say anything. But what happened as to why it got out is because he actually was bragging about what he did to some girl to my other sister's boyfriend at the time, and he knew that he was talking about me. I don't know how he knew that he was talking about me, but yeah, and then it went from there. And I just remember my sisters coming to me and like, did this happen, such and such, and yeah, it just went from there. And I just remember my family which I still kind of a little upset with them about that. But my family decided to crowd his house, and I can't go into full details about exactly what happened, but yeah, I didn't want them to cause a scene. I just didn't want a whole bunch of public attention on that. I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want there to be a ruckus or a commotion, but it happened. He went to jail, and what made me feel even more guilty is because at that point, her family, his family, at that point, they were all calling me a hoe. So that was something that really stuck with me, and I think that's what hurt me the most, because everybody, I guess, in their family thought that it was just, oh, Lana went on to him, she was humping him, but nobody truly fully knew what was really going on. And it's just that made me walk around with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, because I'm like, this happened to me, but I'm being painted as the villain here. Like, I just destroyed somebody's family, or I cheated on my girlfriend. Like, I just started to get painted in a horrible light, and I didn't want any of that to happen to begin with. So yeah, that's what happened in that situation. And I just, in the process of court and all, I was supposed to go up there and speak, but they changed it to where I don't have to speak and testify because of how young I was. I was still a minor, so there's no need of trying to get a minor to face her perpetrator and making her uncomfortable. So yeah, they just took his lullaby. He snitched on himself, and they just took that and ran with it. And word of mouth was he got extra sentencing, or he kind of like put the pen on his own coffin. I remember that's what one of the policemen said, because while he was in the jail cell, he was talking to another inmate about what he did, so he snitched on himself even more. And so I really didn't have to say anything. I wasn't going to. I didn't want to. So that's how that got out. And that's why I don't trust family friends. That's why I look at really all men as a potential predator, because you never really know. They could come in the form of family friend, a man you trust the most. And yeah, that just made me very hyper vigilant. And even after all of that happened, before anybody knew, he would just walk around the house. And like, there was this one time where my sister, which was his friend, she was in the bathroom doing her hair, and literally the bathroom is right across the hall from my bedroom, and he was in there playing with me. And it got to the point to where he was pinning me down too hard on the bed while he was playing with me. I knew he was serious though, and I told him to stop. Like, at that point, I was just fed up with him, because he already had his way with my body, and I was just frustrated with him because I felt like he was just playing games in my face. And it's like he knew he could get away with it, and that just made me furious with him. And another time while he was in the household, my mom, we were in her room. I had just got out of school. I was wearing khaki pants. I was trying to cover my butt around him, but she was like right there. Like, that's how slick he was. My mom was right there. And he looked at me, and I caught him looking at my butt. But like, he made some slick little joke like, oh, you look nice, but I could very obviously see him looking at my ass. So it's just predators. They're very slick. It's like they study. It's like each girl that they tried on, they get smarter and smarter. They get slicker and slicker. But I'm actually kind of grateful that happened and that he snitched on himself, because come to find out, it was other young girls in his own family who came forth saying, oh, he did that to me too. So that's why I think it's important that, like, if something happens to a girl, for her to say something, because that encourages other women, other little girls, to stand up and be like, hey, this happened to me too. It gives them the comfort and that safe space to go ahead and speak their truth, you know. So that's really the whole purpose of why I'm sharing my stories with y'all. I don't need sympathy. I don't need any of that, because honestly, I feel like I'm well over this, but I wanted to share this to, I guess, create the healthy dialogue around us sharing our stories and being transparent about what we've been through. And I hope that this helps some parent to know what to look for and to know not to trust your guy friends around your daughters, even your boyfriends and even your husbands, okay? But so yeah, I hope this helps. I hope it's pretty informative, and if any of this sounds similar to what you're going through, I would just say don't be afraid to tell somebody. You don't have to protect your predator. Don't feel guilty. You are the teenager. Yeah, that's that story.